I have another very special I'd like to introduce this evening. This is someone who served the country with integrity. You're going to all know who she is. Despite what the media says, she's been out there talking about promises made and promises kept. Okay. So would you please welcome to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
What an incredible group of people. What an incredible show of support for our great president. Thank you so much for coming out tonight, fighting the cold, packing this room. We could not be more excited to be here with you. As the congressman said, thank you very much for that warm introduction. Most of you know me as the former White House press secretary for Donald Trump. I was only the third woman to ever have that job and the very first mom. Don't forget that when people talk about who empowers women, look at this president as the person who not only empowers women, but put the first mom in that position. And when the liberal mob was attacking me, it was Donald Trump who was defending me and empowering me to go out and do that job. People used to ask, Sarah, how did you prepare to become White House press secretary? I said, it's real simple. I'm a mom. I answer the same question all day, every day. I'm used to saying no, and I need a lot of patience. But what really inspired me to take on that job and what gave me the strength to stand up there every day is knowing that I was serving and fighting alongside of a president who was fighting for my kids' future, fighting for his grandkids' future, and fighting for your futures as well. I love that we have a president who loves our country and doesn't apologize for it. He understands we live in the greatest country on the face of the planet, and we should do everything we can to keep it that way. Somebody else who gets that, somebody else who understands that and is fighting just as hard and shows up every single day despite the outrageous attacks against her is Ivanka Trump. There are few people who have done more, served more, and fought harder for this country than Ivanka. You know how I know? Because I've seen it firsthand. She was one of the first in, the last out, and one of the hardest workers you could ever meet. And you know why? Because she shares her father's vision and love for America. She knows we are a country of law and order, safety and security, and prosperity. And she knows that her father has done a tremendous job leading us down that road over the last 4 years and will continue to do that over the next 4. She gets it because she has young kids too, and she wants to make sure that they grow up in the America that we love. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my good friend, Ivanka Trump.
Walker, who's here with us today. Thank you. We need more people like the congressman back in Washington, so we're grateful for all that you do. There's some good energy in this room today. State I've been in today. But I'm saving the best for last, right? 2 days from now, we're gonna win Pennsylvania. And we are going to win 4 more years for the people's president, my father, Donald J. Trump. When I came to Washington, I quickly learned why the political establishment tried so hard to keep my father out of office. You see, in the swamp, it's easy for politicians to survive if they silence their convictions and if they skip the hard fights. You see it all the time. I was still shocked, though. I was still shocked to see how many people were willing to leave major challenges unsolved so that they could blame the other side and campaign on the exact same issues in the next election. But my father's different. Donald Trump did not come to Washington to win the praise of the media or the Beltway elite. Donald Trump came to Washington for one reason and one reason only: to make America great again. For the first time in a long time, we have a president who's called out Washington's hypocrisy, and they hate him for it. There's the badge. My father has strong convictions. He knows what he believes, and he says what he thinks. Whether you agree with him or not, you always know where he stands. Now, I recognize, maybe not to this group, but I do recognize that to some people, my father's communication style is not to their taste. And I also have heard that his tweets can feel a bit unfiltered. But the results speak for themselves. That's what matters. The fact is, unlike politicians, when my father makes a promise, he keeps it. In less than 4 years, President Trump has rebuilt our military. He has secured America's borders. He has defeated the ISIS caliphate. He has fostered peace in the Middle East. He has delivered historic tax and regulatory cuts, fixed our broken trade deals, and brought back jobs to America and jobs to Pennsylvania. President Trump has done more for Pennsylvania in 47 months than Joe Biden has done in 47 years. I can feel the passion in this room, and the president loves you. Everything we hold dear is at stake in this election. The Democrat Party is not the party they used to be. How many former Democrats do we have in this room? A lot, everywhere across the country. Everywhere I go, the tent is growing because the Democrat platform lays out a plan to transform America into a socialist country. If you want a future of jobs, safety, opportunity, and freedom, there's one choice in this election. And that choice is Donald J. Trump. Days ago, our president fulfilled another promise. America gained our newest member of the Supreme Court. He will protect our right enshrined in the Constitution, including the right to keep and bear arms, religious liberty, and the right to free speech. As we gather here today, we are saddened by the violence we've seen just in recent weeks, devastating communities in Philadelphia. And our thoughts and our prayers are with the families of Walter Wallace and the families of the injured men and women in blue. In every case, we must be diligent about uncovering the facts so that justice can prevail. This administration will always protect the right to peacefully protest. But there is no excuse for the riots and attacks against the brave officers who risked their lives for we deserve safe communities for our children. That's why President Trump will always back the blue. So nice. They deserve that and then some. As our nation confronts an unprecedented global pandemic, President Trump has launched the largest industrial mobilization since World War II. He made sure that every governor had the supplies they needed, from military hospitals to PPE to ventilators. This is incredibly difficult. He rallied our top manufacturing company to produce these ventilators. Remember when everyone said we'd have a shortage? Well, now, not only has no American who needed a ventilator gone without one, but we're in a position to be lending them to foreign countries who don't have their own. Thanks to America's medical genius, the mortality rate has declined by 85% since the war. The president's early and aggressive action to stop travel from China and Europe saved an estimated 2 million lives. Through Operation Warp Speed, we are on track to deliver a safe and effective vaccine before the end of this year. It's extraordinary. I've been in the room as he's met with some of the scientists and different medical geniuses around the country talking about this vaccine, and they all said what he's done in streamlining bureaucracy has cut the process while maintaining the efficacy and the integrity of a really tremendously bureaucratic process. So it's just incredible the streamlining that went into this vaccine. So in 5 to 6 months, he's done what would have taken 5 to 6 years in another country. Our president has built up supplies, testing, and treatments, and we are protecting the vulnerable while healthy Americans go back to work and back to school. On a personal note, do we have any teachers in here? Because thank you. I put you all up on such a pedestal before this pandemic, but now I think this whole room would agree with me. We are just in awe of what you do. So thank you. The gaps in my own academic prowess as a child, as my children are teaching me the new, more effective methods for just about everything. So it's amazing. It's incredible what y'all do. In the last 5 months, we have added a historic 11.4 million jobs. Paycheck protection program, we helped save 1.8 million Pennsylvania jobs. This program is helping our nation's small businesses, as you know, the heartbeat of our communities across the nation, and also the employers of 47% of the American workforce. It's an amazing program. And just to give you a sense, so government is not exactly known to be quick moving. The PPP program, which is administered through the Small Business Administration, they did more loans in 14 days than they had done in 14 years prior. All for America's small businesses. A few days ago, it was reported that last quarter, our economy grew by an astonishing 33.1%, the single largest GDP gain in American history. Thanks to President Trump, our economy is coming back stronger than ever. Just like we said would be. Joe Biden, well, he said he would shut down our entire country. But to what end? As you know, here in Pennsylvania, endless lockdowns are not a strategy. President Trump will never surrender to the virus. He will defeat the plague. He will bring back your jobs, and 2021 will be the greatest year on record. I've seen my father's relentless determination to deliver for you, the American people. One of the central issues to his campaign in 2016 was fair and reciprocal trade. In fact, one of the central issues for my childhood was this, because he talked about it at our dinner table all the time. He could not wait. He could not wait to get to Washington and start to renegotiate these trade deals. But when he arrived, many politicians, including Republicans, resisted change. I won't ever forget what my father told me one evening after a long trade policy meeting. I walked back with him towards the residence, and he said, "You know, Ivanka, the reason this has never been done before is because our leaders, they haven't had the guts. When things are good, they settle for good. And when things are bad, they don't have the will or ability, so they kick the can until it's somebody else's problem." He was right. If my father didn't take on these fights, no one would. good deal. He wanted a great deal. And that is exactly what we got. Here with us today is Steve Sokash, who works at a glass manufacturing company called Schott North America. Steve's company manufactures materials used in many items, from ceramic cooktops to the goggles used by our courageous Navy SEALs. How about our SEALs, by the way? Thanks to USMCA, Steve's company is now far more competitive globally. And not far from here, in Lebanon, PA, hi Steve. In Lebanon, PA, they are manufacturing critical materials for the COVID vaccine.
Thank you, Ivanka. It's really a treat to be here, and on behalf of our company, Schott, we thank you for all you've done for us. We thank you, and President Trump especially, for all the wonderful policies that he's put in place to help us flourish. Thank you all.
Steve, I think my father would say, the best is yet to come. I've noticed that Joe Biden recently likes to plagiarize our president's Made in America agenda. But the fact is that he supported every disastrous trade deal that shipped our factories and good-paying American jobs overseas. Pennsylvania lost more than 1 in 3 manufacturing jobs after Biden voted for NAFTA and China's entry into the World Trade Organization. TPP as well, all of them, you name it, over the last close to 5 decades. As my father says, Joe Biden should not be demanding the support of America's workers. He should be begging for their forgiveness. President Trump, on the other hand, is advancing the American values of work and family. We secured the largest ever increase for child care funding, giving more than 800,000 low-income families great child care at a cost they can afford. Across the nation, we eliminated wait lists for child care, we lowered costs dramatically, all pre-COVID. So important. As part of Republican... Democrats talked about it for a long time. Trump did it. As part of Republican tax cuts, in 2019 alone, our child tax credit put over $2,000 into the pockets of more than 40 million American families. Democrat politicians recently put forth a plan to increase the child tax credit to solve some of these issues around the cost of raising children in America. Yet when I was fighting less than 3 years ago at the president's direction to get Congress to double the same tax credit, not a single Democrat voted to pass the law. We got it done anyway. Now, Joe Biden has pledged to raise taxes on working families by $4 trillion. We can't let it happen. We won't let it happen. In a second term, President Trump will cut taxes again, and he will create 10 million new jobs in 10 months. President Trump created the most inclusive economy in American history. one that permits people to rise again. I was listening in Sarasota, and a man comes to the front of the reading line after a rally, and he told me how he had been homeless for 7 years. He was with his wife, and they have 4 children, and he had tears in his eyes, as did she, and he said, "Your father enabled me to get a job 3 years ago. I got a job because the economy was growing, because I was given an opportunity by an employer. Never would have happened, and now I'm on this pathway." And it was so beautiful, and this is why he does what he does. So many politicians, they come to Washington, and they forget why they came. They forget who sent them and what their purpose was. It's so easy to go along to get along, and that's what they do. Well, not this president. He never forgets why he came to Washington and why he ran for president in the first place. Never. And it's stories like that. It's stories like that. During President Trump's first 3 years in office, 72% of all new jobs were secured by people out of the workforce. Like the gentleman I was just telling you about. Unemployment for Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, African Americans all reached record lows. For our pledge to America's workers, he called upon the private sector to step up and do more, and they agreed to hire and train 16